Hi, this is Mark Lomas with the Tiburon International Film Festival. We're here at the Water's Edge in Tiburon with Walter Joris, who just premiered the Northern California premiere of the film Shaped, about the surfboard shapers in the 60s, which revolutionized not only the sport of surfing, but the surfing industry. And Walter, welcome to Tiburon. It was an incredible film for those of you who enjoy surfing. It's a slice of history that was really, really exceptional. And how were you able to gather all this incredible talent for your film? Did you have trouble? Because it seems like a lot of these people welcomed the opportunity to finally talk to somebody.
Well, actually, it was interesting because I hired a young fellow out of UC Santa Cruz Film School who just graduated, and he was a surfer, and he happened to be from San Clemente also.
Perfect.
And so I put this on Craigslist, and he answered the call, and he was the right guy. So basically, he already knew some of these people, but some of the legends he was not on a personal basis, you know. And so the fact that I'd done music for them in the summer, knew Bruce Brown and some of these people, it kind of opened doors. And as I say, the color of my hair helped also. It made it a little bit more convincing and believable for them when I approached them and kind of paid tribute to the unsung heroes, basically. And that's one guy after the other. We just lined them up.
It just kind of started falling into place.
It really did. Yeah.
Kind of an organic, natural evolution.
And tying it in with the calendar of events, and so we would go to these particular surf competition or trade shows and just kind of line them up from Santa Cruz down to San Diego.
Walter was in a rock and roll group, surfing rock and roll group in the 60s called the Sandals, and connected with Bruce Brown, who was the filmmaker director for the film An Endless Summer, a classic surf film still to this day. How much fun was it being part of that experience?
Well, it was a lot of fun. I was 18, 19 years old, and we played for a gig down at Long Beach Civic, where Bruce was actually showing some of his earlier films. And I approached him. I said, "How about letting us write some music?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, right, okay." And I even had a stronger accent than I do now. And so he says, "This kid's never going to come up with anything." But within a week, we put some stuff, typical scenario, recorded on the realtor reel in the garage, and we brought it to him. He says, "This is just right for this new film I'm working on," which ended up being The End of Summer. Nobody had any idea that it was going to be a cult film that it's become.
It still is selling. People are still seeing it. I'm the youngest of 4 boys, and the only time my father ever took me to a movie theater with my 3 older brothers was The Endless Summer. And this was back on the East Coast, and I came out to, went to school in Florida, caught a wave, and moved to California the next couple of years, and been surfing ever since. And I was so happy to see that this was basically a Southern California film, but that you very kindly, and I'm sure this is because of the Wingnut connection, included Doug Hout. All my boards are Hout boards, and I think he is a magician because he creates these high performance boards, and you'll never see my name surfing in high performance in the same sentence.
Yeah.
But his boards actually make me surf better than my abilities.
And he's a great human being, what a gentle person.
And his wife Susie, and he's an active 60-plus-year-old, and I'm approaching 60 in about a year. He still snowboards.
Amazing.
But I also understand that you reside in Carmel by the Sea, and I understand that you're have other interests that include restaurants and a winery, and that you yourself are also an artist. And what's your medium?
I'm a painter, canvas painter.
Canvas.
So that was always originally my discipline. So I'm an oil painter.
One of the most touching parts of this film, and I know you touched on this in the Q&A after the film, was working with the veterans who were amputees, and that just took my breath away. And that is such a beautiful tribute to that and recognition. I understand there was some complication with the politics of getting permission to do this, and but if you could expound on that a little.
Well, it took quite a bit of letter writing, emails, and trying to find out who to talk to, quite frankly, and who could sign off. And so we organized that, but at the last minute we still weren't totally sure. No, they had to sign off that day. And so I still had to find that person. Camera crew were there. Wingnut was there with us as well. And when I mentioned to Wingnut about the event, immediately offered to come down, and we spent just 2 fabulous days. Actually, it's changed my life in some ways to have spent the time with these young guys. It was pretty exceptional and painful, and yet rich experience.
It was absolutely beautiful because the furthest thing in my mind when I saw that guy ride up on his bike with the prosthetics and gets out there and catches a couple of waves is hard to even imagine. And yet I think in many ways not only is this a beautiful slice of surfing history, the film has another unique quality of hope and promise, and a real respect for these young men who come back from overseas. It's absolutely beautiful.
And you don't think about it so much, but if you have a double amputee, the only way you can surf is doing a handstand.
And that when I saw that, I think everybody in the audience just, I mean, that moment, it's going to be, that image will be frozen in all our minds, and it was absolutely beautiful. As a musician in the 60s, that must have been a very interesting time to be a musician.
Yeah, well, you know, especially writing surf music, we were just basically, excuse for the pun, but instrumental in developing the genre, because we were right next to Fullerton, where Leo Fender had his factory, and so we were involved in the evolution of the equipment at that time. And it was really the first time that the guitars became loud. And we played with guys like Dick Dale and so on. Some of the famous places like Run of the Ballroom, Harmony Park, and so on. So it was a pretty exciting time. And then, of course, Jimi Hendrix came out and said, surf music is dead. And here I am, and Jimi Hendrix is dead.
No disrespect to the Hendrix fans out there.
One of my favorite guitar players.
I understand that in 2002, the Sandals released a CD called Silvertone.
Yes.
So is the group the Sandals back?
Well, it's a trio. We don't really do any live performance, but we get together to write material, and we have some songs we feel that we want to record. We put it down. Now I've been more in the direction with my son Max, who's writing and co-writer for music for the film, and trying to kind of support him now and pass the baton, if you will. So that's an exciting thing, and getting me more involved in technology.
And to wrap this up, are you thinking of making any other films now? I think this is just a wonderful success.
I've got to recuperate a little bit from this ambitious, lick my wounds a little bit from it. But yes, I have a couple ideas. It does not deal with this subject at all. I'm also, as you mentioned, I'm in the wine business, and I have some insight about what could be done with that, actually. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, this is Mark Lomas with the Tiburon International Film Festival. I'm here with Walter Juris, and we'd like to thank you for checking this out, and all the best to Walter, your family, and thank you so much for being part of this year's festival.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
That's great.